Good day, doodlers. Welcome to Draw Cartoons. Kingdom Hearts 3 is finally out, and I've been playing it, and I've been loving it, and I just had to make a tutorial on how to draw Sora. Get yourselves ready, this one's going to be fun. You're going to need a pencil, paper, an eraser, and a Sharpie to go over your sketch with. Let's go. Let's get started. But first, if you want to learn to draw the fast and easy way, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. Let's begin. So to start off, make sure you've got your pencil handy. We're going to draw a balloon shape in the middle of the page. So starting at the chin, which is where the bottom of the balloon will be, we'll just draw up like this. I like to draw in lots of small kind of gentle strokes because it helps me to kind of build shape a bit more carefully than just kind of going for it and just drawing a balloon straight away. So just try and get that balloon shape down. I guess you could see this is the bit where the balloon ties here, if that helps you to visualize it. But all you're going for at the moment is that balloon shape. And once you've drawn that, just cut it in half with a straight line down the middle. Once you've done that, cut it right across the middle again this way, so we end up with kind of like a window pane shape in the middle of our balloon. Underneath that line, we're going to draw another one, again really, really gently, because these lines aren't going to matter so much later when we go over everything and add all the details in. So this is a really good place to draw the rest of the head shape in. Sora's got some really, really spiky hair, so if you just follow the shape up here, up into a really, really large point at the top, and then guide it over the top of his head, just leave a small gap right across, and then come back to the side of the face like that. So you end up with this kind of triangular shape going on with a balloon in the middle. So now that we've got the basic shape down, we're going to draw in the eyes. So there's going to be an eye here and an eye here. I'm going to start with this one first. So about the middle of this section here, this is kind of the middle of this kind of side section here, that's where the pupil's going to be. So I'm going to draw in the shape of the eye now. I'm going to start with a diagonal line that goes up towards the top guideline that I drew, and then curves down away from it a little bit. I am going to do a tutorial, by the way, on how to draw anime style eyes at some point. When I do, I'll link it just up here when that's ready. But for now, just guide that back down from the top towards the bottom, and then go across and meet where you started, this kind of point here. Okay, we're going to do the same on the other side. So a diagonal line that comes up away from the middle and over the top here, just along this kind of guideline here, and then back down and across like this. Okay, so just try and get that kind of slanted rectangle shape going on. Now once you've got that, just draw a circle on the inside of each one and make it so that the circle is cut off a bit at the top, but the bottom of the circle is fully showing, just like that. So we can't really see the top of the circle, it's kind of hidden away, but the bottom of that circle is just touching the bottom eyelid. When you've done that, draw another one inside where the top of the circle is touching the top eyelid, like that. And there you go, you straight away get this look of the character looking straight at the viewer. So either side of the face, obviously we need to draw in some eyebrows. I'm just going to kind of draw in a slightly frowning eyebrow here, nice and thin. Just lots of little strokes to build up the kind of hair look. Now we'll focus on the rest of the facial features later. We're going to tackle the hair now. So the hair all seems to kind of sweep away from one point, the kind of crown on his head. So the crown is about here. So if you just draw a dot there, balanced, just to the side of that balloon shape there, we can actually start to draw hair shapes away from it, and the hair shapes are kind of like this everywhere, just kind of like a wedge that comes away from one point. If you just imagine that point there is the crown, and if you just kind of get that flow down of hair just kind of coming away from that point, you can really quickly draw Sora's hair. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean here, just going to rub that out really quickly. So for example, I'm going to draw one of his strands of hair coming down here. It might help you a lot to have a picture of Sora open at this time to kind of help you see how his hair's shaped. But it's really, really easy, well it's much easier, sorry I should say, if you're drawing it away from this one point, and just remember to kind of sweep it and give it lots of curves and lots of really cool detail. So any hair that you draw kind of points back to this point on his head. And you can be a little bit messy with it, you can be a little bit careless, dare I say, but just kind of keep drawing spikes of hair that kind of come away from this crown. So even now, I'm going to show you how I draw the fringe. So the fringe just kind of has a few distinctive spikes of hair going down over it like this. But if you'll notice, the fringe always kind of points back to that point on his head. Everything kind of points to this crown. So what I'm saying is the crown's a really, really good guideline. If you're not really sure which direction the hair should be flowing in, always try and get your lines to kind of almost look like they're heading back up to that crown. So I'm going to draw a really, really big spike of hair here, like he's actually got one on his picture. Just going to bring that back up to the crown again. A little flick of hair here. And don't worry if things overlap. Like, hair does overlap quite a lot. So if you've got hair overlapping, that's fine. That's the way hair should look. And you can just rub out any lines that you don't want to later with an eraser anyway. Now, importantly, there's actually a dangling bit of hair here. Just draw a big kind of downward pointing spike. These ones are the exception to the crown rule. They just kind of come down and frame his face, so to speak. They're just kind of there to make all the other hair look like it's in the right place. But once you've done that, you can kind of fill in the gaps with unkempt little spikes that kind of stick outwards and ultimately kind of end up pointing back towards that crown I was talking about before. So I'm just going to kind of draw a few more along the edge here. Now you're probably wondering, well, what's this for and what's this for? Well, if you were to look at a picture of Sora and squint, you would see this kind of shape of his head. So I'm going to show you what I mean now. I'm going to employ the rule I was doing where I was making sure all the hair was pointing towards the crown, but I'm going to do it as I come towards the end of my guideline here. I'm just making it nice and jagged, using an actual picture of Sora as a guideline for how his hair should look maybe. It could be very, very useful. And never going too far outside of that guideline and making it kind of pointy at the edges. So it's basically, I'm going to draw one kind of big spike of hair going up here, by the way out of the boundaries, but that's okay because it's at the top of his head. If you look at a picture of Sora, he has got that going on. And there's another one here. Let's just curve this up along here. Okay, so again on this side, going to fill out this side now. So just drawing waves and flicks of hair that kind of come up and go out and come back in, and they always just kind of come towards this crown here. As you can see, everything's coming towards this crown. So just going to finish off here, just a couple of spikes there to finish off where the guideline was. And now it's time to draw the rest of Sora's face. The hair's looking pretty good. If there's anywhere that looks particularly empty to you, by the way, you can actually add just a few spikes to kind of fill it out. Don't go too overboard, or else it'll look really scruffy. But any bits that you think look a little bit empty, just fill them out with one more spike of hair. So now I'm going to draw in the nose. So actually, I'm going to draw the mouth first. The mouth is going to sit about here. And just gently with your pencil, curve up a bit more on the right side than you do on the left side. It gives him kind of like a smirking kind of smile. And now we know where to draw the nose. The nose sits just above the mouth, but obviously below the eyes. And now that we've drawn in the eyes and we've drawn in the mouth, we can just draw that nose sitting in above. So coming away from the very, very center of the face, you curve up. And be quite generous with how far you curve this up. If you curve it too low, his nose will look really flat. So curve that up quite a lot. And once you reach about the same width as where this part of the eye is here, come away. And then just fade your line off towards the top and try and keep it nice and curvy. It helps to give a 3D look if you just draw a small dot or a stroke there for a nostril. And there you go, the nose immediately kind of has more shape to it. Looks a bit more real. Now, we'll go ahead and draw the neck and a little bit of the shoulders too, just so our character looks like he's actually attached to something. So coming down from either side of the face like this, just a bit of the neck, and then curve away towards the hood. Just a nice simple kind of curve going on there. And then here, we'll just curve it down across the line that we just drew. We're going to do that on both sides, because the outfit he's wearing is, of course, very symmetrical. Now, once we've got that in place, we can come out a little bit towards the chest and then down. Okay, I'm going to do the same on the other side. Come out a bit and then down. And curve a little bit towards the chest again. If you want to, I think it makes it look a bit more interesting if you do that. So following on from here, just guide this down to a point and then come back a bit. So I'm going to do that on the other side to just show you again. So away from the chest, down a little bit to a point, and then fade off towards the bottom. Now there's just basically a rim around this that we can draw, so just kind of copy the shape that you draw on the outside of this shape, or rather the inside of the outside, so to speak, but just this edge here. You don't want it here, it doesn't really belong here. Just draw it on these edges. And then there's a small circle, kind of like a button, on this part of these pads. Now we can bridge these together with the very, very top of his t-shirt. He's wearing what looks a bit like a v-neck. So we'll draw that in, and again there's just a little white brim there. Now that we've got that in place, we can draw the rest of the hoodie. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to come up, draw a small bump, and then stop about there. On the other side, again, come up, small bump, and then down. Wrap it around to sit underneath this here. I don't really know what it's called, but it needs to just kind of sit underneath that. And now we can just quickly draw in those shoulders. And it's just a simple curve that goes down past the end of our image. He's got like a silver line here on each of his shoulders, so let's just draw those in real quick. And then the last part of the hoodie, we can just kind of join it up behind his head, like this. So we've got his neck going on here, and the hood here, part of his hood here, shoulders. Okay, so once you've got all those down, we can tackle that necklace. And the necklace is best done if you draw a straight line across the middle of his chest, go up a bit into the side on each side of that shape, and then meet at a point. So we end up with this kind of weird, stout-looking pentagon shape that's very kind of wide, but it's very short at the top. We'll just correct that a little bit. And then just draw a loose line that goes up around his neck like this. And now we can add in all those nitty-gritty details. So I'm going to draw in a circle here, and a circle here. And then, from this point, I'm going to draw down to the circle, and then up to the middle. Down from the middle, and up to the point like that. So we're just kind of joining those circles up with each of those upper corners. And straight away we get the Kingdom Hearts emblem. It's a bit helpful if you erase these lines at this point, in case it's a bit confusing. I know sometimes I can get confused if I leave too many lines in. And then we can basically just draw circles along this chain, like this, to really quickly draw a chain shape. Just around his neck, like that. Fill in the blanks with just a, just kind of solidify that line in between the circles. And I'd say our sketch of Sora is actually done at this point, so get your Sharpie ready. We're going to go over all the lines that we want to keep, so ignore the guidelines. You don't want to draw this guideline here or this line down the middle. You don't want to draw any of those. Just gently and carefully go over all the lines that you want to keep. And we'll take a look at our awesome drawings when we're done. Make sure you only go over the lines that you want to keep with your Sharpie. This is a great time to correct any last mistakes you spot as you go over it and fix them. Once you're done, well, there he is, the Keyblade wielding hero himself. Now, while you're here, if there's something you want to learn to draw but I've not made a video about it yet, let me know in the comments and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video. Until next time,